Okay, so today we got something a little bit different here. It's a unboxing video. So um, I got tired of using desoldering braid. It's a pain in the ass. Well, I guess that doesn't really matter here. Let's do this. People can find out where I live, anyways. But better safe than sorry. There we go. Um, right there we go. That's a little bit better. So, this right here, this is a desoldering gun. Um, just got this today, so let's unbox it. Let's see what's in the package. So, first thing I notice here is it's very well wrapped, right? Very nicely wrapped here. Let's get both sides. So, I've been using an old Weller for doing a lot of my soldering lately. And it works, right? It works. I think I bought it sometime in the late 90s, and I probably need to replace the tip on it. But, um, after my tab welder nearly took out my garage, I've been without a good soldering iron. Here we go. In the box, we have some instructions here. Instructions. All right. Now, a nice big piece of foam. Get that out. And we got a bunch of stuff in the box. Look at this. So this is pretty nice. Feels like it's made of metal. Some good quality there. Let's go ahead and take everything out. See what we have here. So we got the main control box, obviously. I think these are parts that go to the desolderer, and there's a few needles for poking stuff out if need be. Power cord, I will be needing that. What's this for? Spank yourself? I don't know. Monkey spanker. All right, here's a new soldering iron. That's nice. I needed that. This is the solder sucker. And there's a power supply and a vacuum on that. Interesting. Tasty. I'm going to guess this is some kind of a temperature probe. I don't know what this is. When I hold it too close, it kind of disappears. Now here's a few extra solder sucking tips. The last bit here, and I can put this box down. This looks like something the soldering iron and the sucker will dock to. So let's see. There's a little sponge in here. That's always nice, right? There's another reason I bought this too. I'm gonna go off camera in a minute and show you that. Bring that over. Something I bought the other day, right? Something I bought. Okay, this is nicely constructed. This is metal, metal, metal. This whole unit is metal. The sponge here, it looks like there's a bit of a reservoir for extra water down here. My Weller has a sponge thing, but the whole thing's made of plastic. So this is going to be a nice upgrade. I'm going to enjoy this. So I think the solder gun just goes like that, right? Now they could have made this, I feel like they could have made this a little wider, because you see how that just kind of wiggles on there. I feel like they could have made that wide enough for it to sit comfortably in there, but that'll work. And then the soldering iron, I assume, yeah, it just goes like that. Oh, there we go. Soldering iron is just going to go there like that. So there's everything. Let's move this out of the way there. That's pretty cool. Well, let's go ahead and put these guys down. Let's look at the main unit here. The main unit, right? Ah, so there is something for the temperature probe there. And this unit's very nicely built. So this is obviously the connector for the vacuum pump. Soldering, there's independent controls for each. Oh, this is the best part, right? I love doing that. Menu. So it seems pretty straightforward, yeah? You know, you got power and probe on the back, and then you have a few other things on the front. Hey, girls, how was the walk?
We did all the things, Robert.
And all the stuff?
All the stuff and all the things we got sweaty.
And there's no dogs.
They didn't call it our doggos.
You miss some little bitches, don't you?
I do.
Okay, so that's my unboxing of this thing. So let's see. There are some directions here. So we got, what do we got here? We got operation manual and operation instruction. So this is just one page. And look at how tiny that writing is. I cannot, like, not the heading, but everything underneath. Like, I'm going to have to get my glasses on to read this, because this is like 8-point font here. Indoor use only. There's like 29 bullet points on this, and that text is so fucking tiny. So fucking. Let me hold it up to this camera. Look at that. That is fucking tiny. You got to remember, it's being blown up on your end. I got old man eyes, so that's my shit-eating excuse. Okay, now this text. Yeah, I think most normal people could read this one. So the first page outlines the control panel and all the stuff for the solder sucker. Operation PHT says it's preheating. Oh, that's cool. It has a sleep timer, right? Because I actually fucked up my other tip on my Weller. I left it on for a few days. That's pretty cool. Okay. Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and so I had the arcade monitor. I still haven't finished doing that. I need to finish that up. But the other thing I was going to start working on, let me grab that. I'm going to put all this stuff back in the box first. Let's do that. Let's start by putting everything back in box. You guys are getting us dinks?
And what's wrong? You should stop at the store and get hamburger buns for later. So you guys can have hamburgers.
Well, we also need cheese.
You have cheese.
We have cheese. Wow. And we really just need hamburger buns.
You have potatoes. You have onions.
Do we have shredded lettuce?
No.
Well, I'm the only one that eats it with shredded lettuce, so I guess that's a non-starter. No, kale does not belong on a hamburger. What the fuck's wrong with you? Kale does not belong on a fucking hamburger. Alright. So we're going to set this down here. Come here, you. Okay, give me just 1 second, guys. Be right back. So, besides the arcade monitor that I need to finish up, I also just bought this yesterday. What could it be? Well, if you know me, I'm really into retro stuff. Oh, what is this? It's a Sega Master System. Now, I never owned one of these when they were out. I had the Nintendo. But I was always fiercely curious about these things. And the more you look at the specs and the more you look at the everything else about these guys, this system was better than the NES, right? This was a much better system than the NES. There are some issues glaring with it, though. You can see the dust, and then over here on this side, there's a little bit of rust on the cartridge port. So I imagine this thing sat somewhere damp because even on the back side, some of these screws have a little rust on them. So I'm going to be taking this apart. I'm going to be recapping it, shining it up, making her look pretty again, and then hopefully getting some good games for her, right? But like I said, I never got to play the Sega library. I want to get the 3D glasses and the zapper. Let's get a little ISO and just kind of wipe this down a bit. You'd figure, because I bought this from a store, the least they could do is wipe this down, right? But I did power it on. It does power on at least. But yeah, she's going to need a nice deep cleaning. Look at that. There's a spider. There's a spider living right here. Little spider. See that white patch? That's a spider living in there. So now that I'm here, I am really, really curious to see what's happening. Let me grab my toolkit here. My son was the last one to borrow my toolkit, and I don't see it. There it is. Okay, so let's crack this open. Let's see what's going on here. We will start with this spider web here. What? Something fell. I guess it was just a screw. I don't know what from, but whatever. on the old trusty glasses. These glasses really, they're not prescription. They're just some shit that I bought from the store. All right, let's start by taking these spider eggs out of here, huh? Oh, maybe that isn't a spider egg. That almost feels like a piece of tissue. Now, the first thing I'm seeing on this system that's kind of interesting to me is look at these screw hole patterns, right? This almost looks like it was made to be mounted. That is kind of interesting there. So there's some phone numbers on here. I dare somebody to call these phone numbers here and inside California, 800 USA Sega, or outside California. Inside California, 415 742 9300. Okay, let's see what size these screws are. All right. You know, I don't want to get deep into this, but I'm finding myself, since I'm just sitting here, right? I'm finding myself just wanting to tear into it. Now, this is my handy dandy Harbor Freight electronics kit, which surprisingly is a fairly decent kit. Now, I doubt this thing has any kind of a screw hole pattern associated with it. Ooh, that one's tight. Let me move away from my microphone here. I'm not paying particular attention to what size these screws are. I'm going to say they're probably all the same size. You know, it's amazing how beautiful the systems were from this era, right? Like, you compare this to like an Xbox or a PlayStation, and you know they try and look like that fancy robot from that one Pixar cartoon. I forget the one about the robot that goes around and cleans shit up, and the humans are fat and riding around on scooters in spaceships. But the 80s aesthetic was very different. Okay, now these two screws, I feel like these are different sized. No, they're the same size. And you can see rust on this screw. I'm afraid of what I'm going to see when I get in here, right? Because, like, look at this screw. You can see at the top there's some rust, which tells me water was sitting at the bottom here. Or maybe water ended up, just condensate. And it just sat there. All that's going to need to be cleaned up, though. But luckily, I didn't pay a DK Oldies price for this. I paid $100. So, you you pay a little less, you may have to do a little work yourself, right? Very carefully getting this done. There we go. Oh my God. That was good. Okay. Slipped. Got to be very careful not to cam out because I don't want to strip these heads here. So it almost feels like this thing might have been disassembled before. And I hope there's no trickery, no hidden screws. Feels like there may be something under here. That would be very rotten of Sega to do something like that, but not unheard of. Okay, so it seems like one of the sticking points here is this power button. Oh, no, got it. Okay. So, yeah, there was some rust right on the cartridge slot here, right? A little bit of rust there. Some of these screw holes do have a little rust on them as well. Probably not the worst I've ever seen, right? It's not too bad. Not too great, but it's not too bad. Oh. Oh my. Oh my. Look at that. That is all rust. I believe that card edge connector is completely rotted off. Oh no, it's still in there. Okay. But that is going to need... Look at that. I'm going to send this to my buddy who owns the game shop later. John, look at that. That is gross. I think you should give me another $50 back. No, I'm kidding, dude. I'm kidding, bro. Yeah, we did power this on before I left, so I know there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of put things loosely back. Like I said, we're going to have another episode dedicated to fixing this Sega Master System, or at least refurbishing it, replacing all the caps, cleaning this out. It's almost like somebody spilled something on it. It never got cleaned. I mean, that is pretty gross, right? This cartridge connector looks okay. Yeah, everything, overall, everything does not look half bad on this. Little dust bunnies in there like this. But yeah, let's go ahead and put her back together, friends. Even this case, the inside's really, I'm at least going to ISO some of this and clean it up. I can't put it together when it feels this nasty, right? Let's grab a rag over here, get some ISO. ISO, the miracle juice that... And so see this little rust spot here, we're gonna nail that first. And then we're going to go along the edge here. So next time I go to take this apart, it doesn't stick. Yeah, there's a lot of corrosion in here, though. Very gross. You know, I would be tempted just to throw this whole fucking thing in the sink. In fact, that's what I may end up doing is just throwing all the plastic bits in a sink. I could throw them through a dishwasher, but I don't know if plastic this old can take that much heat. Okay, got some more ISO on there. Let's clean the backside off. Yeah, I want to buy the 3D glasses, the blaster, and then I'm going to get a Crix SD card for it, or maybe I'll get a knockoff SD card for it. I really don't want to get into the whole cartridge collecting thing. I see a lot of people that just overcharge for some of that stuff. But given that the economy took a shit today, it might actually be a good time to start buying some of this crap up. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, some people, they're just as happy just sitting on things. Um, until they can sell them for what they think they should get for them. And that's fine, right? God, I'm up to so many retro systems now. Let's see what I got now. I got the NES, SNES, the Atari 5200, the TurboGrafx, and now this. So I think that makes 5. Oh, 6 if you want to count the Wii. But when I got the Wii, I don't think it was really a retro system at that time. Okay, I'm kind of happy with just this first pass. I'm not going to go much deeper than this. Maybe a little ISO in the screw holes just to flush out any latent. Just in that one though, and just to flush out any latent humidity in there. Let's give this RF shield a good wipe down. It's funny in this day and age, like they don't even bother with RF shields on so much stuff. Like you look at our desktop computers, which are running in the megahertz, right? They're running in the megahertz and gigahertz, and these are all, the megahertz is like your typical VHF broadcast frequencies, and then your gigahertz is your typical microwave frequencies. We don't put RF shielding on any of that stuff anymore. Now, I don't think this comes out without separating it from the bottom, so I'll just wipe this off a bit. Let's give this a good wipe here. Oh, God, that's gross. You are going to get much love in the next few weeks, my friend. One of the nice things about Sega systems, I think I'll get a Genesis next. I was never really a big fan of the Genesis, but they're pretty fucking cheap. So, but one of the nice things about all of these systems is you don't really need to RGB mod them. They come out of the box RGB capable. So this connector on the back here, this is actually RGB out, which is pretty interesting. I think They probably did that in anticipation for the European market and the SCART connector. Let's go ahead and pop these screws back in for now. Like I said, we're not gonna dig deep on this system. I want to get that arcade monitor finished up and get that arcade machine cleaned up and back together. I also want to get my retro corner built, which right now my retro corner kind of looks like crap. And I also want to eventually get a broadcasting corner / retro corner built, but um, I'll take some time. It seems like a lot of the other YouTubers, it's very clean, their workspaces, so I know I'll have to keep it clean, right? So, all right, let's go ahead and tighten these down. I'm glad I got the door on this, right? I bet a lot of these systems are even missing that door. And it's very interesting that Sega, actually from the Atari 5200 onwards, maybe the 7800 had the same team, but I know the 5200 onwards had these expansion ports on the bottom. And none of these companies ever used it. I should backtrack some more. If you really want to go back, Coleco was the first one to have it, and that's another system I've been thinking about getting because I had a Coleco as a kid, and it was a pretty good system, right? Now I played in television, and television was fun. I remember the day my friends and I figured out how to play Utopia. That was a fun game. Um, a lot of gaming historians will call that the first RTS. Uh, but no, I mean, it's. I don't want to collect that. I don't want to collect the Magnavox. I don't want to collect, the 2600 I can kind of go back and forth on. I mean, there's a lot of great games for it, but at the same time, I do have a lead on a heavy sixer, and I'm thinking about grabbing it just because it's historic and it's something I played as a kid. That's what's fun about being 51, right? Like, I see all these other yahoos collecting systems, and they're like half my age. Like, dude, you didn't even play these games growing up. Where's the nostalgia? You're just fucking playing Pokemon. Got to catch them all. All right, snap that back into place. Let's make sure we're not losing any screws. We're not. Okay. All right, so that's going to conclude it for this stream today. Thanks for tuning in. The unboxing of my YIHUA 948D3 desoldering kit. You're going to see that later on today as I do another live stream finishing up the recapping on my arcade monitor. Hopefully that goes correctly and that monitor will power on and display an image. Keep my fingers crossed. All right, guys. Peace. Thanks for tuning in.